No se acabó todavía. Por favor, no se nos vayan. Please do not leave. Let me put my purse down. Buenas tardes. Por favor, please. It's not over. My name is Mirna Cruz. I stand here today on behalf of a coalition of arts and cultural organizations. I want to first recognize, and I'll start all over again for those of you that were walking away. I want to start off by recognizing that we're on native land. We're on Kumeyaay land. My name is Mirna Cruz. I stand here today on behalf of a coalition of arts and cultural organizations led by and for indigenous communities and communities of color, which today includes Chicano Park Museum and Cultural Center, the Centro Cultural de la Raza, Alfred Logan, the Tierras Indígenas Community Land Trust, Subcultura Creation, Teatro Izcalli, the Estimita Art Center, the World Beat Center, Danza Catuicle, and individual artists and cultural workers. We stand in solidarity with the broader arts coalition led by San Diego Arts Matters and Arts and Culture, San Diego. But we are here to ensure that our voices and realities of our communities are not overlooked. So please stay. Because when cuts to arts and culture funding are proposed, it is our communities that are hit first and hit the hardest. This proposal would effectively dismantle the city's investment in arts and culture, eliminating critical grant programs and organizational support that are lifelines to many of our smaller community-led orgs. Sorry, I shouldn't have done that. Okay, I'm fixing it. What's at stake is our existence. Jobs, economic growth, youth programs, creativity, innovation, cultural preservation, community wellness, and those simple things that bring us joy. For indigenous communities and communities of color, these impacts are compounded. We operate with fewer resources, yet we continue to serve an essential culture anchors in our neighborhoods that have been and continue to be historically underfunded and overlooked. Our spaces are where our culture is held sacred, preserved, and celebrated, especially during this political climate when we are target of erasure. Our spaces are where young people reconnect with their roots, experience belonging, and where communities convene to learn, to teach, to share, to uphold nuestros antepasados, survive and celebrate our present, and affirm our audacity of hope from the future. This is what's at stake for us. At the same time that the mayor is proposing obliterating arts funding, he is proposing increasing investment in public safety. Code language for funding the police. For our communities, this does not equate to public safety. Quite the opposite. Increasing policing leads to our communities feeling vulnerable and an increased mistrust in government. Arts and culture are not expendable. They are essential. They define who we are as people and as a city. This is not just a budget decision. It is a values decision. It forces us to ask, whose communities and whose stories are you being valued? We are here in joint action because equity demands that the disproportionate impacts on indigenous communities and communities of color are named and addressed. We call on the city to reverse these cuts, restore funding to at least fiscal year 26 levels, and engage directly with our communities to build equitable and sustainable solutions. Gracias. Thank you.
Hey folks, I'm kind of saddened that folks left the stage right now. We were called up, brown people were called up to share the stage and they just left. Can we get our black and brown artists on the stage, please? Come on up, please come on up and join us. Kyle, por favor. Kyle, por favor. We are strong and we are deep and they can walk off the stage, but we're here representing. Kyle, por favor. Kyle. Thank you. Say it. Hernandez, and I'm here on behalf of Centro Cultural de la Raza. Centro, in turn, is the cultural home to more than 12 community groups who practice and teach diverse art forms and culturally significant land stewardship, and to initiatives like Enero Zapatista, which every year convenes more than 30 groups from around the city for design and implementation. All of these entities, comprised of hundreds of artists and cultural workers, are on my mind today. We're located in Balboa Park, not coincidentally in what used to be an abandoned water tank at the edge of the park used by the city for stolen and lost property. Our history with the city is one of decades-long marginalization and disinvestment. But one of the things that makes Centro resilient is that it is a space to envision and build new ways of relationship and leadership. It is both wildly idealistic and very pragmatic. I think it's why we draw folks who are not only artists and cultural workers, but who are also very proudly librarians, immigrants, educators in your public schools, community colleges, and universities, working class, first-gen Ivy League graduates, bartenders, queer activists, Muslims, trade contractors, people with disabilities, Jewish, healthcare workers, and so much more. We're everywhere in the city. San Diego is our home. So when a national foundation in 2023 chose to make a significant investment in us, we chose early on to invest in the city by renewing our efforts to apply to these arts and culture programs, which in turn for us signified a willingness to build trust with the city and to participate intentionally in the broader arts and culture ecosystem. The proposal to gut city arts and culture funding, which is not a pause, it is an unequivocal move to elimination, feels like a betrayal and a continuation of politics as usual. It is agendas built without and at the expense of communities of indigenous people, communities of color, and working class people. It is a de facto policy of destabilization. Current budget priorities reflect increases in public safety spending, including at least an additional $14 million for policing. There is evidence nationwide that ballooning police and carceral systems budgets are making us less and less safe. There is also powerful evidence that investing in arts and culture is a public safety strategy. It is a public health strategy. These investments support cultural strategy and these practices of historically oppressed groups, recording our histories, telling our truths, and envisioning and creating new futures, especially under conditions of cultural erasure, builds resilience, builds community power, and it builds democracy. Centro Cultural de la Raza calls for the immediate restoration of arts and culture funding and meaningful, equitable investments in our creative sector. Thanks, folks. Next up to the mic is the executive director? Executive director of the World Beat Center, but we all know her, we all love her, we respect her. It's an honor to have with us Masada.
Greetings, everyone. My name is Makeda. I'm the executive director and founder of the World Beat Cultural Center. I'm going to be real short because I just did Earth Day and I had to come. I had to come out here. So, music, art, dance, and culture is the weapon of the future. And they know it. So we got to keep our culture through music and art. So, like my sister center, Centro Cultural de la Raza, we got to come together. We got to fight this as one. So, hey, none of us are free until all of us are free. Amanda!
Hi, good afternoon. Thanks to everybody being here. My name is Elena Gonzalez. I'm a board member to the Chicano Park Museum and Cultural Center in San Diego, the newest gem of a museum in San Diego. And I shared with the mayor at that time when we became a museum, keeping in mind those of you that have been here for many, many years in San Diego and those that are newcomers, there's been a fight for Chicano Park. Historically, on Chicano Park Day, it'll be the 56th anniversary. That's how many years it has taken to be recognized, and we have a museum now to celebrate keeping that archival history, to keep the exhibits, to keep the community involvement, to keep our youth involved. And we're so excited to offer that. And then we get this news, like many around me, and we're like, okay, how does this happen? We've heard from lots of people today. But I wanted to share something with you to not be repetitive of all of the feelings that people have. Today, it's ironic that I am representing the board for Chicano Park Museum and Cultural Center. Our director is up in Sacramento, Monica. And she's our new director. And Josie Telemantes, who was a co-founder of Chicano Park Museum and Cultural Center, who did all of the work to have Chicano Park be a historical landmark. And guess what? She's being recognized, and I know she's gonna hate that I said this, but it's important. She's being recognized for the 50th anniversary of the California Arts. Coming from San Diego, she was one of 10 people selected. She's up there with the governor and that whole group celebrating, and Monica and they are pushing to get that news out about what San Diego is doing in terms of culture and arts. So they could not join us, but I'm speaking on their behalf. And I just want to say a couple things. When I saw this poster that was there and it talked about how San Diego looked and in terms of the arts and in terms of the whole cultural art communities and things that were being affected, that was very sad. That's so disheartening for San Diego. And you know, it really affects not only Chicano Park Museum and Cultural Center, but the Barrio Logan Cultural Arts, all of the business and the programs that are there. And you know, we're really deeply outraged with the mayor's proposal on these budget cuts. And we know there might be some other district representatives and people that can be supportive, but with the influences that are going on right now with the budget, we really need to be those vocal voices that we are deeply outraged. Not a little bit, but deeply. And I wanted to share with you that, you know, our communities have faced this for many, many years. That's why I share this story about Chicano Park and about the museum. Because sometimes people even in San Diego aren't aware that almost at the border, there is a museum and there are arts organizations and there is binational involvement to keep culture and art. And how dare anybody say your culture is not to be represented, your language is not to be represented, your traditions and your all of the youth that are involved in knowing who they are. We're a very blended community, and that's important. And diversity, equity, and all of that is good things. Those are good things. So we want to remember that. I only have a little minute left, but I just did want to say that on behalf of this group of the Chicano Park Museum and Cultural Center, Chicano Park, the Barrio Logan District, and all of the organizations, that we really want to make sure that we don't get eliminated, that we are here to stay, and we will do what we need to show all of what people have shared before me, that we have value. And that is the balance of a community and a healthy city. And if we don't do that, it's going to get real unhealthy with loss of so many of these organizations and people's love and their impactment that they make in terms of the arts and recognizing culture. So Barrio Logan is not just a neighborhood. I always like to remember that it is a historical cultural district, and it has been there for many years. And we are calling on the mayor and city council that they need to reverse these cuts. They need to restore and continue to invest in the cultural infrastructures of our community that we've all worked so hard to have. Thank you.
Hello, buenas tardes. ¿Cómo estamos? I hope we're enojados and enojadas, yes, because anger triggers and sparks community. My name is Maria Figueroa, and I am the board president of the Centro Cultural de la Raza, a 55-year-old cultural organization that sits in the heart of San Diego in Balboa Park, and we've been there and we're not going anywhere.
I also come to you today as a mother of young adults, of children who have been raised at the Centro, as someone who was hired in the Centro in the 1990s when there was money to have a staff, a full staff, and people who could organize and coordinate visual arts and performing arts, and I was in the performing arts. I also come to you today as a almost 30-year seasoned community college professor who started her tenure career at City College and always made it a point to bring my students to the Centro Cultural de la Raza. I come to you today as a cultural arts practitioner, as a danzante, traditional danzante in the community with Danza Cuatlicue. And Cuatlicue means Mother Earth that is a creator and a destroyer. And what is happening today is a destruction of the arts and a direct attack to our communities and our legacy, our ancestral legacy of creating arts that are powerful in order for us to survive as indigenous people. Danza Cuatlicue has its spiritual home at the Centro, again, a 55-year-old cultural arts organization founded on the principles of the Toltecas and Aztlán of human truth and Chicano beauty. The truth is the arts are not negotiable. Libraries are not negotiable. Recreation centers, places of gathering, where seniors, viejitas and viejitos come with their intergenerational grandchildren is not negotiable. Cultural arts and community centers like us and all of these beautiful gente represented here behind me and in front of you are not negotiable. People's quality of life and sense of belonging to something greater than themselves is not negotiable. We are outraged and critically concerned by this so-called progressive and liberal mayor who even would propose such threats and cuts to our communities and our infrastructure in beautiful San Diego. Gloria's 83% cut to the arts, yes, is a direct attack on them, but more than anything, it is a direct attack to you all out there, to educators such as myself, to children, to working class families, and to all the cultural makers and artists who really uphold the ethos and center the well-being of the community. This disproportionate elimination of OSP operational or operational support programs to fund other, quote, safety net entities, which our executive director so eloquently named, proposed by the mayor, is in direct conflict with our collective values, whose sentiment is something other than policing. Public safety is about the vital cultural arts and sustainability of our people. Therefore, we demand, we don't ask, we demand that our funding be restored, that we continue to invest in places and spaces where our young people, educators, artists, viejitas y viejitos, niñas y niños continue to see themselves represented and validated. We demand that this be rescinded. Buenas tardes. My name is Betty Banks. I'm a queer Chicana artist born and raised in San Diego. I'm here alongside Subcultura Curation and All for Logan. We have spent years creating space for communities that have historically been left out. Queer, indigenous, black, brown communities who continue to shape culture in this city. The truth is, we have always found ways to do the work with or without you. But this isn't about us. This is about the future of San Diego arts and culture. Arts and culture are not extra money. They support local economies, create jobs, and build spaces where people connect and belong. People like us. Look to your right and look to your left. You're looking at artists. So look around. We're here. I have received grants. One of the best things that came from these grants, to be an artist, a paid artist, is to be able to pay your fellow artist friends to pull in that money for those favors they've done in the past. So the money I made, my friends made. The art that we created, the shops sold it. The shops that sell coffee, that hold our art, have created money for this community. Yesterday, I cruised around town like I do every Sunday. I went to Chicano Park and saw the murals and got some good energy. Then I went through the neighborhood because, I love it there. On Hillcrest, I was in Hillcrest, and on 6th Ave, I saw a banner with Mayor Todd Gloria's face, and it said, "Hometown Hero." So here we go. Todd, escúchame. I'm talking to you. You are not a hometown hero. Defending the arts is not heroism. The people on this stage, the people here fighting, the artists that support, we are hometown heroes. Artists are hometown heroes. I'm a hometown hero. Last year in October, I was laid off from my job because the funding was cut. So you know what I said? Put your big girls on. And you know what? I decided this year I'm going to be an artist. So when you ask me, what are you? I'm no longer an advocate for victims of crime. They cut that. Can you believe that? Okay. We can talk about that later. So I'm an artist, and I'm applying for these grants. And my art speaks to the community, and I know this. My magic came from my ancestors, and I walked the ground of these communities with these women and people behind me. We are all here to fight for what belongs to us. Art is our voice. If you don't know that art is your voice and you're an artist, escúchame. Young artists, old artists, any artist. If you create every day, you are an artist. If you activate for your community, you're an artivist. If you use that artivist voice and they hear us, Todd, I need that banner down off of 5th and University, ASAP. The community there doesn't want it. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Katie Ruiz and I'm an artist and an activist living and working in San Diego, and I'm the creator of the Pom Pom Project. Pom-poms that have dangled in these exact trees for months as we created as a community thousands of pom-poms together, which built Community for the Creative City campaign, which we thought was going to give us a whole bunch of hope. We had hope. We had hope. There's another piece that's in the building that you're about to see, and you know what I named that piece? Home. But it's not going to be my home much longer if we can't pay artists, if we can't fund artists for the work that they do, beautifying, creating, and keeping this struggle alive. It's a slap in the face. There are much smaller cities with bigger budgets, and here we are in this most beautiful city fighting for a puny $12 million. It is a slap in the face. When you cut art out of the city, you cut culture, you cut creativity, you remove the very people who drive economic growth, tourism, civic improvement, and quality of life. We want Art City, not Cop City.
KUSI doesn't want to hear me. It's all right, I've been on there many times. My name is Mason de Arteaga, and I just want to start by just singing a little something. Sing it. Impamene wane toyolo titatsin. Impane wane toyolo titatsin. Impane wane toyolo titatsin. Impane wane toyo tatsin. Heyana hene yo way. That's talking about our interconnectedness. How we're connected to this tree, to the little ants that we might have accidentally stepped on. Something happened to me. A good friend of mine that worked with the San Diego Opera, we sing our songs with the drums or rattles, and he's like, "Oh, you're a musician." I was like, "I'm not a musician, bro." And he said, "Yes, you are. I've been in ceremony with you, and you play the drum and the rattle and you sing." I'm like, "But I'm not a musician." And it dawned on me that in our culture as indigenous people, we don't separate arts. So I didn't know I was a musician because we don't separate it. We're just taught to do it. You know, we're just taught to do it. How can you separate art? How can you stop drinking water and function as a human being? It doesn't work that way, right? 2 weeks ago, we were teaching Chicana theater right there at the Chicano Park Museum. 8-year-olds to 15-year-olds. We had a show right there at the radio station. The show was sold out, 250 people, 2 weeks before the show even started, right? But the power was this, and all of you have seen it. Everybody here has seen it. And my wife's like, don't go up there and cry, because you always cry. So I'm gonna try not to cry wherever she is. Hopefully she's like getting shade somewhere, doesn't hear me cry. The power is this. I'm gonna leave you with this. You all have seen this happen when you see that little person, that 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, when something comes out of their heart. When something comes out of their heart and they're like, you know what? I'm fucking here now. You know? I'm here. And the stage, even though I said I wasn't gonna do this, I'm scared, I'm this, I'm that. They get up there and they freaking rock it, and you see that energy come out of their hearts. Well, you know what? I get it. I get what that is. And what sucks is like, all of you here, we're not gonna get cut. We're gonna keep fighting for this, right? We're gonna keep fighting for this. However, I also know, just by looking at all of you here, that you're gonna fucking keep doing it no matter what, right? No matter what. So, hey, I see so many beautiful faces, so many people that I know, and you know, I'm semi-retired, so I'm pretty down to lock myself up there until they get rid of me, because we're not gonna lose this money. This belongs to our people, this belongs to our communities, it belongs to every precious soul that's working their butts off to watch these beautiful changes in the next generation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Buenas tardes. My name is Moises Esparza. I'm the Director of Development for Media Arts Center San Diego. I want to thank all of the regional arts and culture leaders gathered here today. It is an honor to stand in solidarity with all of you, even under these challenging circumstances. May this moment serve as a reminder that unity and collaboration are essential to solving the collective problems we share. Media Arts Center San Diego operates under the vision of creating a just and connected border region where media arts and creative spaces are accessible to all and utilized for learning, advancement, and collective liberation. Through the work we do, we change lives, expand perspectives, and strengthen our communities through media education, exhibition, production, and workforce opportunities. Our ability to respond to our community's needs and frankly to remain operational as an arts nonprofit depends on critical support from federal, state, and city sources. All of us today are already navigating an increasingly difficult funding environment, which is why the proposed city budget and its implication for arts and culture funding is frankly unacceptable. For Media Arts Center San Diego, the proposed reductions in city funding, especially through the organizational support program, would be particularly devastating to the San Diego Latino Film Festival, which just celebrated its 33rd edition in March. More than just an event, the festival is a cornerstone of San Diego's cultural life, bringing communities together to celebrate Latino film, culture, traditions, and art. Losing it would be a profound loss to the city's arts ecosystem and to the shared cultural experiences that unite us all. On behalf of Media Arts Center San Diego, I call on Mayor Todd Gloria to reverse the proposed cuts to arts and culture funding, safeguard the investments in San Diego's creative economy and cultural infrastructure, and work in partnership with all of us gathered here today to find equitable solutions. Thank you for giving Media Arts Center San Diego the space to be in community with you.
Hey folks, how's everybody hanging in there? It's hot, right? Thank you for sticking around. My name is Julie Corrales. I'm the executive director of Tierras Indígenas Community Land Trust. I'm a lifelong San Diegan. I'm a Chicana organizer, an activist, and I am an artist. Our organization, Tierras Indígenas, works to curb displacement and cultural erasure in Barrio Logan and the surrounding neighborhoods through preservation and creation of affordable housing and also access to art spaces for artists and culture bearers. So today we've talked a lot about the benefits that artists bring to our city, the economic benefits, right? over $1 billion in revenue. But we also know that providing opportunity to engage in arts is an effective intervention for at-risk youth. We also know that art is a proven method of therapy, and we know that reconnecting with ancestral cultures is a valuable tool in recovering from mental illness and substance addiction. That is public safety. And this is why, what I'm going to say right now is why we need BIPOC folks front and center to talk about these issues, because as much love as I have for the organizations that came before us, they didn't say it, okay? But police do not prevent crime. The police does not provide any revenue to the city of San Diego besides ticketing poor folks, okay? Yet, we are increasing the police budget by $15 million. While cutting arts funding, which brings all the benefits we've discussed today, by $11 million. Simply by maintaining the police budget as it was last year, we'd have enough to replenish our arts and culture budgets. We need to defund the police. Further investing in a police department that in 2025 received approximately 800 complaints of misconduct per the Commission on Police Department Practices. Okay, further investing in them while divesting in true avenues of intervention and crime prevention shows that this budget is not balanced, like Mayor Gloria says. It does not reflect the priorities of San Diegans at large. See, artists are and have always been a bastion of cultural resistance in our communities of color. Black and brown folks know that. We've always known that. But artists are also the canaries in the landmine, in the coal mine. We are frontline defenders against fascist propaganda. We are catalysts for revolution. In these tumultuous times when we are fighting fascism and racism at the highest echelons of power, oppressing and subverting artists, especially artists of color, is a direct attack on that resistance. Defunding the San Diego Cultural Affairs departments and programs will disproportionately affect BIPOC artists. Because these artists behind me, you artists out there, are less likely to have the generational wealth or the access to education and resources that enables people to pursue a life of art. We need this funding to pursue our art. Stripping away funds to support these artists essentially silences the voices that we need to hear most right now. Black people, brown people, queer people, young people, and poor people. This is unacceptable to me, to my organization, to the leaders behind me, to you people here today, and the majority of San Diegans. So we demand that Mayor Todd Gloria and all the council members reinstate in full $11 million to our arts and cultural funding.